Have you ever wondered what it's really like behind the scenes of your favorite bathhouse? Well, today we are going to find out on Queerly Us. Joining me today is the CEO of Steamworks Toronto, Brian Short. Brian, welcome to my podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
is.
I guess you're my first guest on this new podcast, Queerly Us. So um, I'm I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm super excited because this is a topic for me that's like I kind of fangirl about bathhouses. Is that weird? Like it's a place that I've always loved to go to. It's a place that I speak about constantly on my YouTube channel, and I just find it fascinating. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, you kind of sound like me. I like fell in love at it was like love at first sight, or love at first bite, whatever you want to call it. From my first, actually not my first, but my second visit to a bathhouse, I was hooked and I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And
But from the second visit, so the first visit was that bad or
um It was kind of a not very memorable, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
have a
was yeah.
yeah. I have a secret dream, and it's not secret because it's on my vision board to one day run slash own a club like that, like a sex club or a bathhouse, some kind of um, establishment like that. So that's definitely this is all in my wheelhouse, and I'm so happy you're here. And you were jumping into my first question without me even having to ask it, which means we're on the same page because I was going to ask you, how did you even like get into the bathhouse business to begin with?
Well, it's definitely a valid desire, and that's kind of how I started. I went to the club and I saw that, well, it existed and things had to happen and somebody had to do it. And I thought, well, why not me? And
Yeah. Well, do what you love is what they say.
well, yeah, that and I saw things were being done right, and I went to clubs and things were being done wrong, in my opinion,
Hmm, hmm.
and I was in a position where I was able to work at a bathhouse, and so I got hired at the bathhouse in Fresno, California. Yeah, and there was a little bathhouse there, and I got hired there. And I'm just going to be like really, really super candid. It was right after I got out of rehab in the early 80s.
Okay.
And I was in my mid 20s. And so I was going to be going to starting college. So I was going to be starting junior college. So I was going to be working nights at the bathhouse. And it wasn't a real busy place.
Yeah.
And we
What
did
were you do?
every
What was your job title? I mean, then you
well,
started at the
well
bottom, I suppose. You weren't the CEO of the Fresno Bathhouse,
No,
right?
no, there was one person on duty at any given time, um, and you did check-ins, check-outs. You went and cleaned the rooms.
Oh, wow.
Um, if the customers were hot and nobody was around,
Then you played around. Yeah, of course.
things happened,
Uh-huh.
which was, I mean, nobody told me I couldn't, in all
How do you, oh
honesty.
my God. So I'm just imagining like, so I used to
So,
work at a bathhouse in Toronto. But we had a full staff. Well, I guess maybe Toronto was busier than Fresno. I don't know, but
yes, it was.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine working the front desk. Well, it was actually where Steamworks is right now. It was the spa in Maitland,
Oh, okay.
the same location. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was the bartender there,
Okay.
basically just opening beers. And yeah, it was just, I can't imagine like cleaning the rooms and then checking people in and doing all that stuff because we were like super busy. So I don't know how you. micromanaged yourself.
Oh no, if we checked in 20 or 30 people on an 8 hour shift, that was busy. Oh, and
Okay.
we did the laundry, washed, dried, folded, put it
Yeah.
away, and made sure the music was playing. And oh, and we had porno too. We had 8 millimeter movies, which were the little reels, like they were this big.
Oh, come on.
And
Like they play on
and
the movie projectors and the thing that like that, but the little ones?
yes, they played on the projector. The projector sat on
You're
top of
kidding.
the dry sauna and projected onto a screen that hung um, in the middle of the club. And actually, it was very cool. It was a screen, so it projected onto the screen, and so you got an image on both sides of the screen. So that was
Oh,
very cool.
that is cool. I like
But
that.
but you only got like how long do those little movies play? Like 4, maybe 8 minutes?
Oh, you're kidding. So you have to keep changing it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And and we were like hot little twinks back then.
What
And you
year
had
was this? I was gonna ask.
this was like I started in I don't remember if it was 81 or 82.
Okay.
So we're talking back in the dark ages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Electricity was new to the universe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so we had to like put this little ladder up next to the dry sauna and climb up that and 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 um and then get on top of the dry sauna and put these movies on.
So every five
And
minutes you're climbing up a ladder and changing this reel?
well, when we wanted to show movies,
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a
so
continuous
there
like.
weren't movies all the time. It
Well,
kind of
and also how
depended
many
on
movies were there in 1981? Was there a large selection? I mean,
there.
was this
No, there wasn't a
pre-explosion of,
lot to
yeah,
there wasn't a lot to draw from.
it wasn't Falcon, Studio 2000, Titan, Colt, all of these studios, were they even around to be
Um,
making porn? I mean,
Not
right.
in there were a couple studios that we had films from.
So in your location, was there like a jacuzzi? So you said there was a jacuzzi.
Yes,
Was there a
we had a small
steam
hot tub
room?
and we had a
Was there a
dry sauna
bar?
and a steam room. No, American clubs don't have bars. Yeah, our original plans for Steamworks, we were going to have a bar,
Yeah.
and and as they were drawn up, there was a bar. In fact, the space that is currently the gym was going to be our bar. We decided as a business, we don't really know how to run a bar.
Mm,
So what do we know? We know a gym. We don't know how to run a bar.
yeah.
Let's stick with what we know and what
Yeah.
we're good at. A really simple decision at the time to make, and I think
Hmm.
it was a really wise one because
Well, I'm
we
sure a
didn't.
bar, then you've got the alcohol, and then you've got people getting inebriated more than they maybe already are when they show up, and like,
Yeah, and then you have to deal with safe serve, and
right.
there's just a
Yeah.
whole other
Yeah.
layer of stuff that you're having to deal with, and that we were totally unfamiliar with.
So
And
you're in Fresno. It's 1981. Obviously about the bathhouse raids that happened in Toronto.
no,
Did you?
not a clue.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I was going to ask you if you had anything similar in California, in Fresno, um,
Um,
because there were raids happening in the bathhouses here where the cops were going in and just arresting guys. So, and it was
right.
around that time.
I'm
So,
trying to think what, if anything, my awareness was about the legality or non-legality of the whole situation.
mm,
I think I was naive enough to think that the people I worked for would not put me in a situation that that
you believed in
that
people. How sweet.
that yeah, that I could get in trouble
You believed
with.
in the goodness of people, that they had your best interest at
Well,
heart.
yeah, I mean, I worked for
Oh,
lawyers, and so I thought, well, they're not going to put me in a situation, and they're going to
yeah,
stand behind me, and
yeah. This must be above board.
yeah.
I wonder if it was. I guess we'll never.
Well,
Well, obviously, you never had any run-ins with the
we were
cops, and there was.
licensed. We were
Yeah,
licensed,
yeah.
and the police knew about us, and the health department knew about us.
Hmm.
So, and we've always worked with the health department very closely to, because we always did testing and education and that kind of stuff. So that's always been like a huge part of who we are.
Mm.
Community health and community involvement.
Um, so what is the club? Is it still there now?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no,
And no,
no, no,
that
no, no,
building,
no.
no,
No,
it's condemned.
it was in a little business park,
Okay.
we had, what did we have there? There was a Christian plastics fabrication place on the corner who did not like us.
Christian
Surprise.
plastic fabrication?
Yeah, like Tap Plastics, except this was owned by Christians.
Oh, so they made plastic things, but
Yeah,
they just happened to be super religious about it?
yeah.
But it wasn't
Well,
like religious
not like
iconography. They weren't making
invasively.
like
They
plastic
were,
Jesuses, were they?
yeah. No, I
What?
mean, they weren't invasive. They just let it be known that they did not approve of what was going on.
Well, yeah, that's awkward to have them as
Yeah,
like a close by neighbor. That's weird.
yeah,
Although
yeah.
maybe some of them popped in and we don't know, right?
Well, and
Ah,
I know we had priests check in. I mean,
of
that was
course.
that was a real eye opener to me. When I saw somebody, when I looked at his ID and he was wearing a Roman collar, in the ID, I was like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it was a real experience, to see just everybody checking in, and then you would see like a whole different person inside,
Yeah.
and just the whole nature of like people walking through that door,
Yeah.
and like they would be allowed to change and be a different person once they walked through that magic door,
I was gonna use the same word. It allows them maybe to be who they really are. Or
or who
certainly,
they want to be for a period of time.
yeah, yeah. Certainly who
Yeah.
they can't be outside of the magic door,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
especially in 1981.
Oh yeah. And even to this day, it's like people's in line, it's like it's elevator. Nobody talks to each other.
Yep.
Standing in line,
Yeah. Well,
very
that's it. You're
stoic.
standing in line. Somebody's in front of you. Somebody's in behind you. You're at the cash. You're paying. You don't speak to each other, but they're both inside of you when you're in the sling. And then
Right. Yeah,
and
you
then as
walk through
soon as
that door and
yeah,
you've got your tongue in their nether parts.
yeah, yeah, they're bent
It's
over the fuck bench and like yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and it's all because you pass through that magic door that you're
yeah.
allowed to do that.
It's a very what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I find
Very
too.
freeing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you're just allowed to do whatever. And then a lot of times you see people on the street and no,
Oh,
you will not speak to
they
them. They
do
will
not
not make eye
acknowledge you.
contact. They don't want to acknowledge,
Oh,
you know.
especially, yeah, I would see that in Fresno all the time. You'd pass people in the mall, and they just did not even want to
Yeah.
acknowledge your existence.
So how did you go from like mopping cum off the floor to being the CEO? I mean, what was that progression like for you? What was the next step out of
Um,
that?
well, from there, within like a few months, the opportunity came to manage the Fresno club,
Oh, okay.
and so
Makes
I
sense.
managed the Fresno club, and I did that for a while, and then I think I moved to the Sacramento club for a while, and
Okay.
I managed the Sacramento club for a while, and then I took a break, and I focused on school for a couple years. And I
So
moved to LA.
you had left the business for a while.
Yes, I did. I did.
Ah, but
I
you
did.
came back.
I did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Couldn't stay
Well,
away.
well, yeah.
And the nice thing about what you did, I think, is that you were able to work all the positions. So I mean, you know, as you worked up and then you were managing the club, it's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, well, you've done all of the jobs, so you know
Right.
what it entails to do them. And you know what I mean? So I think that
Oh,
makes
yeah.
for a better leader, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I basically I've kind of been a leader all my life. In high school, I was a drum major, Um, when after high school, I joined the Marine Corps, and I very quickly rose up the ranks there, and I was a troop leader there. Um, I just have kind of like a natural ability, I guess, to get people to do what I want them to do, or what needs, or to get people
I heard that about you.
to
Yeah.
get what needs to be done. You
Hmm.
know, I'm pretty good at figuring out what needs to be done,
Mm.
and I have a pretty good ability to get people to do it,
Yeah.
get what needs to be done, to assess, you know, a situation, and to get what needs to be done.
S-
And yeah,
So obviously, okay, so you've been in the business forever.
ever.
How have you seen changes? Changes in the facilities? Have things changed? I mean, societal views and also the physical space. Has stuff changed within it? I mean, we don't use those little reels anymore. We use, to show movies, and movies are
Right,
running
right.
24/7, for example. That's an example. How else have bathhouses changed over the years?
They used to be very what's the word? People didn't know if they were going to be open. If
Oh,
they would build them just very what's the word? Slipshod, ramshackle.
yeah.
You know, like the walls tended to be
Oh,
MDF and two by fours,
okay.
and that's how they were constructed. And so there was no building integrity whatsoever, and because they didn't know if they were going to be shut down, you know,
Right.
in a month or 2 months or whatever. And and that's really kind of like how things were when I first got involved, and so that's what I dealt with, was that kind of stuff.
Mm.
um,
That's a huge one. Because I
oh yeah,
mean,
people
because also as a business owner, let's say you're opening this and you're like, I don't know if it's going to be around in a couple of months because we might get shut down or whatever, right?
right. And businesses tended to occupy, or they tried to occupy kind of like existing health clubs, and expand on those.
Right,
So
that makes
like
sense.
old Jack LaLanne health spas got got built out into bathhouses, that kind of stuff. You know, so places
Mm.
that already had maybe a steam room and a dry sauna and a pool
Right,
kind
because
of
the
thing.
bones were there already
Right,
to
right,
to
right.
support that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they would add in these funky rooms
Mm.
for people to, we call them changing rooms. You know, the
Oh,
city
changing
likes that
rooms.
much better than anything else.
Okay.
um,
What
and
what about, so there's, I mean, there's always been saunas and jacuzzi lockers, so it's pretty basic. I mean, I guess
yeah.
have the toys in there changed? Was there always like a slurp ramp? Is that a new invention? Or I mean, slings are as old as time,
um
I suppose.
yeah, there've always been dark rooms. There used to be orgy rooms, you know,
Mm,
pre-AIDS. There were just big rooms with mattresses strewn about, and
mm,
people just went nuts. It was wonderful.
yeah.
You know.
You don't see that. Well, you see that more in Europe. I find there's more communal areas.
Oh yeah,
It's not so
yeah,
much about like the North American style where you rent a room and
right,
that's your
right.
room. In Europe it's kind of like you just use the room and then
Move
somebody
on.
else uses it after you. Yeah,
Yeah,
type of
yeah.
situation.
Yeah. So orgy rooms used to be really big,
Mm,
and we don't have that so much now. We have the slurp ramp.
yeah.
Um, and I just learned that term actually when we
Me too.
built the club up here.
Really?
And yeah, I don't know what.
I didn't know what it was called either. I mean, I had seen it and I thought, "Oh, whoever thought of that? That was really smart."
Yeah, that was very clever.
Very
And I
clever.
also, you know, I met George Hislop, who claimed to have invented the elongated glory hole.
That's right. He used to sit at my bar. I used to serve him alcohol.
Oh yeah, at the
The
spa.
spa in Maitland, yeah, where he
You
lived.
know, and I added that to his Wikipedia
Oh,
entry,
that's
his
good.
Wikipedia page,
It
but
should.
somebody ripped it out.
Oh
Somebody
God.
deleted it.
See, it's all that. So That's a good point then. Like there's all of the, do you think that's because of shame or like stigma and they
I,
don't want
I
that
I
sort of
think somebody
attached to it?
decided it wasn't
Not
befitting
appropriate.
of you know
Yeah.
his whatever, it wasn't profound enough. But I think, from what I know of George, that he was as proud of that as he was of anything. And
Of course. Yeah. No, he would have been absolutely from what I knew of him as well.
if for nothing
Like,
else, just for the cattiness of it.
yeah. Um, well, that's it. Do you feel that attitudes have changed at all in terms of, it doesn't seem like it, around these kinds of establishments?
Oh yeah. When I rejoined the business in the 90s, I started with the Chicago Club. I came back, and I started running the what was then they were it was called the Unicorn Club in
Okay.
Chicago, and I ran that for a couple of years,
I
and
like
then
that. The
we finally
Unicorn
got it
Club.
up to a point where we felt that it was good enough to call it a Steamworks,
Oh, okay.
and it was just kind of silliness. But the bottom two floors of the building are bathhouse, and the top floor had been run as a separate business. It was the body shop gym, and
Mm.
then we combined all three floors together and called it Steamworks, and that was about 98, I think, when we did that. um,
Very popular place.
yes. Oh, we had
Steamworks,
had a
Chicago. Yeah.
blast with that place. I had a
Yeah.
blast. I
Yeah.
just and I just treated it. I mean, it's right there on the strip. It's a very, very prominent, and we did a lot of work. We put in this 50 person jacuzzi. Um,
Wow. That's a big one. You know, I've never been to that location actually,
oh,
so
you need to go.
I know it's on my bucket list.
It's not in my um was it purview? It's not within my domain right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in the part of Steamworks that I don't have anything to do with.
Right. Oh,
But
because you're two locations, are you? Or
yes,
it's Toronto and
and Seattle.
Seattle. Okay.
Yeah, Toronto
Yeah.
and Seattle.
Okay.
Um, those are the only ones that I'm affiliated with now. There's been a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a bit of a stir up with the progression of life.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Isn't there always?
Oh my God.
Um, so you think attitudes have changed, or in terms
Yeah.
of like judgments and stigmas and
Well, it used to be a much more of a personal kind of a secret thing about going to the baths.
mm,
Uh, we're- and in the 90s, I just kind of like really started treating it like it was a normal part of like the gay appetite, like
yeah,
this is just something that we do.
yeah,
And it's like, get over it, move on.
yeah.
And
Well, it's a safe, controlled environment. You
very
know,
much.
that's not, it's not cruising out in the public. You're not exposing yourself to, and nobody needs to be exposed to it that doesn't want to, and
Right,
everything. But there's
right.
still a lot of, because there's a lot of people that say, oh, it promotes promiscuity, it promotes disease, the spread of diseases and stuff like that. So,
But studies have shown that people that are more active sexually, like people that go to baths, tend to they have like a higher level of sexual, was it sexual care?
hmm,
They take better
yeah,
care of themselves. They
yeah.
get tested more often.
They get tested
They're
more.
less
Exactly. They're more in tune
less
with their
likely
body and their sexual
to
health.
yeah, they're less likely to have something than
Yeah.
somebody that some random person maybe that you pick up online or whatever that doesn't play as much.
Yeah.
So
And when they do get
yes,
something, they take care of it. And the
yeah,
bathhouse, there's condoms everywhere. I mean, there's the choices are endless,
yeah.
you know. Also at Steamworks, I know you have the that ACT comes in, right? And
Act Maggie's,
which is the AIDS Committee of Toronto, if you're listening and you don't know. And they dispense advice and information,
right.
right?
Hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah, we have our outreach booth, right there between the gym and the front dark room,
yeah.
or
And then
we'll
when
build a serve
monkeypox
room.
reared its head, there was vaccines available at Steamworks.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's on the forefront of sexual health, actually, if you
Oh
open your
yeah.
eyes and you
Oh yeah.
actually, because I get a lot of comments on my YouTube channel where they're just like, okay, well, that's the best place to get HIV. Or
It's
people
the
use the
best
word,
place to get HIV information.
eh,
We've been doing
totally.
we've been doing HIV
Yeah.
education for God since the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
um all the bathhouses in San Francisco were shut down. Our club in Berkeley, which is in a different county, was not shut down, and we took the tone that the attitude that this is we have an opportunity to educate people about HIV rather than just pretend like it doesn't exist. So we
Totally. Yeah.
started. uh, I mean, we're already doing and had been doing um, syphilis and gonorrhea testing and treatment at the club. So we started doing HIV testing and education at the club,
Yeah.
and we started doing that very actively and got very involved, or even more involved with health departments at all of our in all of our locations,
Hmm.
and yeah, we've been doing that's been just a huge element of who we are. So
Yeah. And I know that, but a lot of people don't know that, and they're very ignorant to um that
yeah,
fact,
that's kind of
and they're but those are the same people that use the word like or ask the question, are you clean? Or
ugh.
they're not up to speed with all of the,
Oh my
all
God.
of the advancements and the medication and everything, and they just don't know, and they're just completely ignorant, and they just see the bathhouse as a place that where, they don't know.
I was talking about the kind of like very, very flimsy kind of construction that a lot of the bathhouses
Mm.
were that I experienced early on. But I also want to say there were some real grand houses, um, even back then. Um, I never went to um, the and of course now I can't think of the name of it. The place where Bette Midler performed
Oh, do you
in
know?
in
So
in New York.
I'm watching American Horror Story. Right? Do you watch it?
I have, yeah.
So are you watching this season now?
No, I'm not.
You have to. It's all about bathhouses.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, and they have Patty LuPone playing a Bette Midler type character
okay,
singing in the bathhouse.
all right.
So, which is something that I never got to experience, obviously, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and when Bette Midler was singing, she had what's his name on piano, Barry Manilow.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah,
This was in New York City, was it?
yeah.
Okay.
The Continental Baths,
Okay.
where she performed. I don't know how lavish the facilities were, but it was a former like men's or whatever. It was a former public baths, I think.
And they knew what they were doing, right? They knew where they were.
Oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah,
And it was
oh
just like men walking around in towels and like listening to
yeah,
Bette Midler.
yeah,
What an experience.
oh yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there were also places where groups of men got, people in society, lawyers and whatnot, pooled their resources and built really nice clubs.
Mm,
In San Francisco, there was the Rich Street Club,
okay.
which is kind of famous, and because one of the people that I worked for in Steamworks was associated with the Rich Street clubs, and he used to tell me stories about. Well, one of the stories he talked about was there was a big saltwater aquarium that was between the showers and
Oh, wow.
the restaurant they had,
Well,
and
and the
like
restaurant? So you're sitting at your table eating, and then you look through
well,
the
restaurant,
aquarium.
bar, a little snack area, whatever. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could watch people showering
Oh my
through the aquarium,
God. What a
and
dream.
the the partner of one of the major investors had decided that they were going to be the colorist for the club, right?
Yeah.
And so when it came time to stock the aquarium, the colorist was the one who made all the choices of the fish, and they spent thousands
Oh,
of
for God's
dollars
sake.
on the fish,
Only
which
the
of course,
gays.
lasted less than 24 hours because you can't buy saltwater fish based on color. You need
Yeah.
to buy them based
Yeah.
on what's they're going to get along with, not on who's going to,
So they
because
ended up like
they
eating each other and stuff.
absolutely, there was like two fish left the next day.
There was a massacre. Oh my God. Are
Anyhow,
there any
yeah, so
clubs
there
like
was,
that these days? Are there any sort of
oh,
lavish?
yeah, Steamworks, Spa Access,
Oh, you consider those? Oh, well, so then I'm spoiled then. Like, yeah, these
very
are my
much.
go-to. So like,
Yeah, very
okay,
much.
I see.
I'm trying to think. Oh, in Fort Lauderdale, you have a very nice club. I guess it's Club Baths down there
Yeah.
is a very, very pretty well built and pretty well maintained. I have some issues with some of the stuff, the way they operate, but that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep, everybody's going
and
to run their own. Well, this type of business too, and it attracts a certain type of character, and we're not going to go into different personality types and stuff like that,
yeah,
but definitely, much like the porn industry, is going to attract all different kinds of people, and some of those people are, yeah. Speaking
yeah,
of porn, though, and I did want to bring this up before I forget, I the number of times that I've been at Steamworks Toronto and looked up on the screen and seen myself, I'm starting to think that when I walk through the door, they're like, "Oh, Eddie Stone is here. Let's put on one of his movies." And then put it I'm like, cuz there must be like countless movies. I mean, just hundreds and thousands of movies available. So it's just funny.
I think I'm the only person that has not done porn. Nobody,
On
nobody
the
ever
planet?
asked me. Yeah,
Nobody asked you.
nobody ever asked me.
Well, do you know it's not too late because anybody with a camera and an OnlyFans page is a porn star now.
Oh my God.
So go
If
ahead.
I ever thought anybody would have paid me, I would have done it. But
Yeah, I bet. You
now
just didn't wasn't
we
your
just
path.
we don't need to
It
see
wasn't your
this.
path.
We,
I want to
it,
ask you a question that
it just burned in your retina.
oh, come on. You're an attractive man. Come on. I mean, let's not
Well,
like beat around the bush and pretend here.
well, thank you. But
Um, I get a lot of comments on my bathhouse videos where people are like, "Well, why do we need bathhouses? We have apps. We have Grinder, we have Scruff. Why even go to a bathhouse? I don't understand." And so to me, that's such a ridiculous question. I mean, you can't compare the two. It's like apples and oranges. But do you want to speak to that? Do you
oh yeah,
find there's been a change in bathhouse, maybe attendance or also attitudes since the emergence of the apps?
there was I think there was a bit of a dip when apps first hit the scene.
Mm,
When there was M for M and I'm trying to think what the
yeah, what were
other
they called? That was back in the day. That was like
yeah,
late
Daddy
90s,
Hunt
early
or whatever,
2000s.
yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, there was a bit of a dip, and we partnered with some of the different websites that came out, and and we would do stuff with them, um, and I think we found our market again.
Yeah.
People have found that they want the type of environment that we provide. Not everybody can host. Not everybody wants to bring strangers into their house.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to be stuck with one person for 2 hours.
Yep.
you
Well,
know
and for me, I mean, just you can't replace the when you're in the bathhouse, it's face to face, it's immediate. There's an energy exchange going on immediately.
right, and
On
if
the
it doesn't
apps,
work,
if it
move
doesn't
on.
work, you move on. There's other options. With the apps, there's so much time wasted. You're scrolling, you're looking at the pictures are photoshopped. It's their
Right,
best angle on their best day from 10 years ago anyway. So I'm not even looking at the correct product. In my
right,
mind, I'm starting to construct who I think this person might be. It's
right,
totally false, of course, because they're not going to be anything of what I
right,
would like them to be, which is fine,
right,
but I would know that instantly in a bathhouse, you know?
right,
Um, you just it can't, and then you have to find a place to go. You need to set up a time. I mean, it's just
right.
I got shit to do. I'm a busy person. I don't have time to be scrolling around on these apps and getting bings and woofs and
Right,
I'm just
right.
anyway. Obviously, you know where I land on the whole
Oh
subject,
yeah.
but you can't rely on the photos. You can't rely on what they're telling you or what they're saying because they're
Oh
putting on
yeah.
a persona
Oh
anyway
yeah.
of what they think you want. You just delete all that, go to the bathhouse. What you see is what you get. Are you into it? Great. If you're not, move on. I just,
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
yeah.
And we offer a variety of vignettes that you can play into,
Mm-hmm.
in the different dark areas, and whether it's glory holes or fuck benches or slings
Yeah.
or whatever, the stuff that you don't have, most that you probably don't have at home, I should say.
Yeah,
Um,
probably. Well, some people do, but yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
But you probably don't
Um,
have fresh meat coming through the door every few
Oh my
minutes,
God, no.
right? So,
No, 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 no. Yeah. And yeah, and music. Oh my God. Music is so important to me. I've
yeah.
always loved the musical component of the club because
Mm-hmm.
um I used to go to the club baths at 8th and Howard in San Francisco used to be the place for music. Oh, it was just heaven. You would hear music there you wouldn't hear anywhere else on the
Was it a
planet.
DJ?
Yeah. Yeah, they
Oh,
had a
okay.
DJ there, and it was just amazing. I would hear stuff, like I said, it was more rock and roll, and like occasionally you would hear Sylvester, or you would hear like that
Mm,
kind of stuff, but then you would hear Romeo Void, and you would hear Bauhaus, and you would hear
mm.
just all these underground and rock oriented kind of stuff. um you probably remember the song "I Might Like You Better If We Slept Together" by
Oh,
Romeo
maybe if
Void.
I heard it. Yeah.
Google it.
Sing it. No, okay. Well,
And I
music,
mean,
so
it's the perfect bathhouse, just lyric. I might like
of
you better if
course,
we
yeah.
slept together.
Yeah. Well, that's so yeah. I mean, obviously music has always been important. I mean, we just talked about Bette Midler,
Yeah.
singing and Barry Manilow at the piano. So it's like music has always been important
Well,
in those
divas just
spaces, I
don't
guess.
get me hard. I'm sorry.
Which does?
Divas do not do it for me. They don't.
Well, that was my only thing. I thought that was very uh yeah, exactly.
And
To your
show
point,
tunes.
it's almost a bit of a cock block. It's kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
very separate for me.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that in a different space, but to bring those two together, it would be very,
Yeah.
yeah,
Show tunes and divas just don't.
yeah, for sure. And well, so yeah, music wise, at Steamworks, you guys have the DJ booth. So you've got the
Right.
DJ happening, which is unique. Also, you don't see that very often. Um, so that's nice too.
Yeah, Ross and I, the owner that I co-created, basically the whole ambience and the Steamworks brand with. Um, Music has always been a huge, huge element to us, and like I said, the Club Bass at 8th and Howard was a huge inspiration to both of us, and we've always wanted to create a place that had like a darker, a positive, um, what I want to say, like a driving, sexy, um,
Mm,
earthy
yeah,
energy about it.
yeah. I'm going to ask you one final question here, because I'm curious and I don't really know what the answer is, but I'm sure there are things. So, how would you like to see bathhouses evolve, or what do you think is next for the industry? Is there anything lacking that we can add to it? Is there anything, you know, that would make it better? Is there anything you think future wise that would make the experience more enjoyable?
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
You know, because when I'll let you think about it and I'll just talk while you think.
Okay.
I know that when I go into spaces, I look at it from a very from a critical standpoint. Well, okay, so I have a playlist on my YouTube channel, and it's all bathhouse reviews. So obviously, I go into these places and I see what I like and I see what I would change, and I have ideas, and oh, I would change the lighting there, or oh, I don't need that room, or whatever it is. Um, and I'm always sort of editing in my head and then and rating and stuff like that. So hence my YouTube playlist. But um, yeah, it is very wash and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's a lot of the same stuff. I'm wondering, is there any kind of element that we can add that would make something, but it would have to be something that you're not just adding to add, I guess. It would have to be something you're adding that adds to the experience and makes it more enjoyable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, Honestly, I think I think an orgy room would be fun again,
Yeah.
if people could just relax and enjoy themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, there's going to be dozens of pencil sharpeners regardless.
What's a pencil sharpener?
Oh, stop and think about it a minute. You'll figure it out. Just you walk around the club and you see all the open doors and the pencil sharpeners in the rooms.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Okay.
oh, the pencil sharp. Oh, I don't know. When you said pencil sharpener, I was really focusing on the pencil,
No,
not the sharpener, which is
the
what you said.
sharpener.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
So,
Yes. So just put them all in one room.
well, no, I mean
Oh,
they're gonna be out there.
yeah, for
But,
sure.
but an orgy room is a lot of fun, where people
Yeah.
can just go and
So what's in the
relax.
orgy room? Is it just like mats on the ground and people are just everywhere?
Well, they're raised, so that
Yeah.
people can, because mats on the ground are just kind of a little ghetto-y, I think.
Hmm.
So I think they should be raised up, and then people can actually access stuff, and stuff can happen without, you having to.
Like somebody could be on all fours, or they can just be bent over, or they
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I just being on the ground all the time. I just think is a little too ghetto for
No,
me.
you need layers, especially as you age. It's nice to have, your knees are maybe not quite as, you know.
Oh my God, can we talk?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we can because I'm starting to creak myself.
Yeah.
But okay, so what else is there? Is there like a fuck bench? Is there like a sling in there? Is there
Oh,
like,
yeah, there could be for
yeah.
sure,
So it's whatever. It's just
for
a
sure.
big, but the point is it's an open space.
Yeah, and yeah, which we don't really, we don't have any big spaces. I like that we have the big slurp ramp in here in Toronto. I like that a lot,
Hmm.
and I like the way our space in the back is developing. We moved the St. Mark's Cross to the back,
Hmm.
the area that
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I've been calling the car wash, and now we've lit it. I think it just looks beautiful back there.
Oh, maybe I didn't see that. Where did you put it? In the very back?
Yeah, yeah, we moved
Oh,
back by the confessional,
okay.
and we backlit it, so now it glows. It has this
Oh,
nice red
nice.
glow to it. Oh, it's so.
Lighting is so important.
Oh my God. Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
is.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
because it
I
sets
know
the mood and the tone
that
and
was the
the
first thing that I did when I came back in. I guess it was June. The lighting was just a complete fucking shambles.
mm,
I
it makes a big
it,
difference to any establishment, any a condo, a house, a restaurant, anywhere. Lighting
it
is
was
so
it
important.
was all over the place, and nobody was paying any attention. Nobody
Yeah.
cared. Um, Now I've got the lighting in the whole club. It's consistent. It's like, I mean, you don't even think about it, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, before it was like it was just jarring. It was all over the place,
Yeah.
lights different colored hanging down from the ceiling, and you're like, what the fuck is going on
Oh my
here?
God.
Or at least that's how I was.
No, for sure. Well,
Maybe
that's why
I'm
you're the CEO of
maybe I'm
Steamworks,
that
right?
guy. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
No, I
well then
really
so am
haven't.
I.
I really have an eye for detail,
Yeah. When I
and
was in Amsterdam, I was like, "Oh, I like the lighting. I like what they did here," and I was noticing those things, and it does. It just makes a big difference. It enhances the space. It makes it
oh
look
yeah,
better. And the color. Is it a red light? Is it, that type of thing. So,
yeah. The club there is nice, isn't it, in Amsterdam?
yeah, I had a great time. Have you been to? Do you know about Boyberry?
No,
So it's a
where's that?
sex club. It's not a bathhouse. It's a sex club. Basically, the entrance is like you have to buy a beer or something,
Okay,
and then you
where's that? Is
go
that in
in
Amsterdam?
Spain. No, there's one
Oh,
in Madrid and there's one in Barcelona, but they're expanding to was it Berlin or Frankfurt? They're opening one there. So it's just a sex club. Like it's just you keep your
okay,
clothes on, but you walk around and there's like little rooms and there's like little benches and stuff. So
okay.
it's yeah, you just get in, get off, get out kind of
Oh,
situation. So I think that's all the time we have for today.
oh.
I know. Well, we can do this again.
Well, I've had fun. Thank you.
Did you? I really appreciate you taking the time because, it means a lot. And I think this kind of information is important and that we talk about it and just take it out of the shadows because it still like lurks there in the darkness and the stigma and stuff. And, you
That's
know,
where I'm at in the darkness,
in the darkness, yeah.
lurking.
I kind of straddle the darkness and the light, and I'm trying to bring them together because not completely, because I like the darkness being dark, but
Yeah,
it's just let's destigmatize it, let's de-shame it, and there's no reason for us to be all about it, right? So I appreciate you
yeah.
taking the time to come here and share your experience and your expertise and your knowledge
Well, I've
with
had a
my
great time.
audience. Yeah.
It's really it's been good. Like I just I like sharing the fact that it is such a natural part of my life,
Yeah.
and I wish that to more people, that you can just be okay with it.
And if you're listening to this and you're thinking about going, especially to Steamworks, then I encourage you. I mean, check it. You have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, you go and you're like, oh, you know what? This is actually not for me. Great. Then you
Yeah,
know.
you still get to say no.
You still, yeah, you still get to say, yeah, it's not like you walk in and suddenly people are fucking you and dumping loads in your ass. Okay. Like you can say no. And also, you can just use the facilities. You can just go for a
right,
jacuzzi. You can go to the steam room. There's a gym. So it's not a wasted trip either way. Right.
right.
All right.
That's right. That's
Thank you
right.
all for listening. And I will see you in the next episode of Queerly Us.